Welcome back to Andersen Acres. We're sitting here with Gemini today. Gemini, who, by the way, is pregnant, and at the moment that I'm filming this, she's about 10 days probably away from having babies. So she is a good candidate for this video because today we are talking about the best time to breed your rabbits. Okay, I've had a lot of questions about should I breed them in the spring, should I breed them in the fall, should I breed them tomorrow, should I breed them. I get a lot of questions about that. So let's talk about when to breed your rabbits. What's a good time? So when to breed is actually a huge consideration, and there's a lot of things that go into that particular decision. There's a few things that you need to consider because the timing of breeding does directly impact the health of the kits. Okay, so when you breed does impact the health of the kits. Not for the reasons you might think, okay? So, one of the reasons that you have to consider a lot of different factors is because you should not have a rabbit alone when she's kindling. Okay, you shouldn't know that your rabbit's going to kindle on Saturday and then take off to the beach on Friday and, oh, I'm not going to be home till Tuesday. That's not a good plan. You really should be home when your rabbits kindle. Not only that, but on day 27 or day 28, one of those 2 days, you need to basically lock down your rabbit, meaning you set up a nesting box for her, put her in an enclosure where she can have her babies. And that's done on day 27 or 28, not earlier than that, because if you do it earlier than that, the rabbit might think that the nest box is a litter box and soil the nest area. And then that's not good because then you've got a dirty nest area and it's just not ideal. So you really need to be home. So your schedule is part of the equation. So rabbits are pregnant for 31 days. On day 27 or day 28, you need to set them up to have their babies. Move them into your brooder box or whatever you use for your rabbits to have babies. You need to get them set up on day 20, 27 or 28. 28 is what I do, but 27 can work as well. So you need to know that one, you're going to be home on day 27 and 28, and that you're going to continue to be home until the babies are born. That doesn't mean you can't go to work. You can go to work. It doesn't mean you have to be home this every second. What it means is you shouldn't be gone for an extended period of time during that window. So from day 27 or 28 all the way through when the babies are born, you should be home regularly. You can still go to work, you can still go out for dinner, that kind of thing, but you should not be gone. Okay, so you shouldn't be off at the beach for the weekend and knowing your rabbit is at home going to have her babies. So your schedule absolutely matters. Where will you be? If you're a beginner and you're getting some help with your rabbits, so you want somebody there with you when she has her babies for the first time, then is the person you want there with you, are they going to be available? Because remember, if you breed today, 31 days from now, roughly, give or take, but 31 days from now, you're going to have babies. So are you available? And is anyone that you want to be there for your support person, are they available? And yes, some people do feel like they need a more experienced person with them when their rabbit is first having babies because frankly it can be a little nerve-wracking. I know the first time one of my girls had babies, I was a wreck the entire month. So yes, sometimes having a support person there is a good thing. So if you need a support person there, they need to be available as well. So, other factors other than are you going to be home? The weather. Now, this is probably the biggest factor. The weather is really a big indicator around here whether or not we're going to breed. Okay, so we won't breed if it's too hot, we won't breed if it's too cold. Let's talk about the cold first. Stop it, Capricorn. Sorry. Capricorn's knocking things over. Anyway, Gemini is pregnant. And Capricorn is annoyed that he's not getting quite as much of attention. Anyway, doesn't matter. So, cold weather. Let's talk about cold weather first. It is hard to keep babies warm in the winter. Mama pulls her fur and does her thing, and she does everything right. But look at all these dewlap. Rah, 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 rah. Just gonna pull all this hair. But Mama does everything right. But if it's below freezing, she may not be able to keep them warm. Okay, so if you're breeding your rabbits and your mamas are outside, the cold is a definite factor. It's also hard. Sometimes baby bunnies will get pulled out of the nest box either while mama is in labor or after when they're feeding. They latch on, mama jumps out, they get dragged out. In the wintertime, you have a very, very limited amount of time where you can go save the baby. So you do need to absolutely make sure that you have to absolutely make sure that you get that baby warmed up right away. And if it's the middle of winter and it's really cold out, you probably only have 2 or 3 minutes. So if you're not there when it happens, the baby's going to die. Okay, so we don't breed in the winter for those reasons. It is difficult to keep them warm and it is difficult to save anyone who ends up outside the nest box for whatever reason. So we do not like to breed in the winter. If it's going to be below zero, either I breed indoor rabbits like Gemini, or we move the rabbit who's going to have babies into a warmer environment. It doesn't have to be hot, so it's fine if it's as long as it's above freezing, and if you can go without gloves, you're probably fine. It doesn't have to be room temperature. It can be below that, that's fine, but it can't be cold. Like if your hands are cold, it might be too cold for baby bunnies, even with their mama's fur. On the other side of that scale, we have when is it too hot to breed? A lot. We don't breed in high summer. That's why you didn't see babies over the summer because we bred in the spring. Both Gemini and Loki had litters in the spring. And then you didn't see baby bunnies all summer. You'll start to see them in the fall, and with her, you'll see them here in the winter because it's just too hot in the summer. Okay? If it's too hot for the mama rabbit, it's too hot for baby rabbits. So if it's above 30 degrees Celsius, thereabouts, about 85 degrees Fahrenheit, it's too hot for rabbits. Okay, it is too hot. We have to do a lot of cooling. We have to use, fans and all kinds of stuff. So if it's going to be that hot at the end of the month, your rabbits are pregnant for about a month. So if it's going to be that hot by the time your babies are born, you might want to skip and wait till it's a little bit cooler, or bring the rabbits indoors. Okay, Gemini I can breed any time of year because I keep her indoors. I still don't breed her in the summer just because I don't like to use air conditioning if I don't have to. And you will need more air conditioning with baby bunnies than you do adult bunnies. One of the other reasons a lot of breeders, and this is true of me as well, don't breed in the summer is hot temperatures can cause the ears of the babies to grow really long because ears are a rabbit's cooling system. Okay, so a rabbit can cool themselves down by just kind of laying their ears out and letting the air circulate because they have blood vessels that go up through their ears, and the ears are really, really thin. Okay, very thin. So they can use these as a cooling system. So the blood runs through their ears, gets cooled down, and then the rabbit themselves is cooled down. If it's really hot when you have little ones who are growing, they could end up with ears that are way too long. Now, ears that are too long, if you have a show rabbit, that's a fault or even a disqualification, depending on how long the ears are and what breed we're talking about. Like in Holland Lops, ears that are too long are a disqualification. It's just the way it is. So you get DQ'd and you can't show, and you won't be showing ever because if you got disqualified once, you're going to get disqualified again for the same reason. So I don't breed in the summer also for that reason because my lops, a lot of them are show rabbits. So I don't want to have that particular problem. Now, that might not matter to you if you're breeding for meat or for fiber, but if you're breeding show rabbits, even if you're breeding pet rabbits, you don't want massively long ears. That's ridiculous. So, yeah, a lot of people just don't breed in the summer. So, a lot of times, at least in our area, people are looking for baby bunnies for their kid or whatever, and they can't find them in the summer. It's just because breeders don't breed them in the summer. Not here, anyway. That might be different where you live depending on your climate. Um, the other reason people don't breed in the summers here is age. So for us, show season is the fall. Okay? So if you want to show a young juvenile rabbit, an older juvenile tends to show better than a younger juvenile. So, first of all, you can't show a 4-week old rabbit anyway, at least not here. But if you take your 3-month old rabbit, they will not show as well as a 5-month old rabbit. something that's a little bit more mature, at least in the juvenile class. A little bit more maturity means the rabbit shows better. So generally, people don't want to be taking really young rabbits to the fall shows, and also most people will not show a pregnant or nursing mama. So if you have a really good show mom, you may not want her pregnant or nursing when the shows come up. So that's a factor as well. Do you show your rabbits? When are the shows happening? Do you want to have babies kindling during that time frame? And I do not, but that is just me. That one is, one based on your area, two based on whether or not you show. So for us, show season is the fall. We don't really have too many shows in the spring. For us, it's the fall. So that's another factor. So environmentally, best times to breed are spring and fall. If you have outdoor rabbits, if you have indoor rabbits, as long as you can keep them climate controlled, any time of year is fine. Take into consideration your goals. So if you're breeding show rabbits, you might want to do that at specific times of year. Or also you want to consider your schedule. So you need to be home. Okay, it's important that you just don't take off on vacation and expect Mama Bun is just going to handle everything. You need to make sure that Mama is looked after. So make absolutely sure that you're home. Those are the most important factors that go into the best time to breed your rabbits. So I'm not going to tell you January is the best time or anything like that. It really is a combination of factors and what works best for you. That's about it for us here today at Andersen Acres. We'll see you tomorrow.